On the next episode of Probably True Solar Stories, a family has moved into a solar home that is haunted by a ghost with an unfulfilled environmental mission. But will that ghost mission help the family or hurt them? Welcome back to episode 5 of Probably True Solar Stories. I'm your host, Tor Solarfred Valenza, and it's my mission to get solar power into mainstream entertainment by telling strange and wonderful solar stories that might be true. And speaking of strange, do you believe in ghosts? Personally, I'm not a big horror fan, but I do love a good haunted house story. What interests me about haunted houses isn't really the house, it's the ghost. How did they die? What will make them rest in peace and leave the home alone? For this haunted tale, our ghost is haunting a solar house occupied by a young family that's torn between moving again or living under the ghost's terms. Okay, and here we go. We didn't know our solar home was haunted until we got a text from the ghost by Tor Solarfred Valenza. I was babysitting Allie in the living room when I heard the text chime from my phone on the kitchen counter. It was a simple message that said, "Your solar panels need to be cleaned." First, I thought it was spam. We'd bought the house 3 months earlier. Maybe the original solar installer had gotten my number after the sale went through. But then I saw that the message had been displayed twice. It was as if I'd typed in the text and sent it to my own number. I smiled and looked at my daughter, Allie. "Allie, did you steal my phone again?" Allie looked up, offended. She thrust her little hand into the air, holding my wife Nadia's phone. She was innocent. "No, Daddy. I have Mommy's phone, and I can't steal your phone anyway. Remember? You changed the ass code." Passcode. "Whatever, and I didn't do it." It was hard not to believe her. She was 6 years old, and the message's grammar and spelling were flawless, unlike Allie's usual messages. Maybe she used voice dictation, but that didn't make sense either. The phone was in the kitchen, and Allie had been in the living room with me when I got the text. If it wasn't Allie, then by process of elimination, it had to be Nadia. I looked around, but Nadia was nowhere to be seen. I yelled into the household void, "Sweetheart, did you steal my phone?" Nadia appeared halfway down the banister, clutching her laptop. "Say again?" "Sweetheart, did you steal my phone to tell me that I needed to clean the solar panels?" There was a pause of confusion. "One more time?" She looked completely baffled. "Seriously, Nadia, come on." "Jack, why would I steal your phone? And who says the solar panels need cleaning? Is it an app notification or something?" "No, it's a text. And it came from me. Except I didn't send it, so I thought." Nadia came all the way down the stairs. I handed her the phone for inspection. She saw the problem. A message sent to me by me, as if I'd texted myself. But I didn't. "Beats me. Allie?" I already asked her. Plus, I just put a new passcode on. It wasn't her. Not only that, the phone was in the kitchen when the text came through, so it couldn't have been her. Well, maybe. She searched for an explanation, but then shook her head, indicating the double text. Weird. We never met the previous owner. The house had been a foreclosure and sold as is. Although we felt guilty capitalizing on someone's misfortune, we loved the house. It was the perfect 1,500 square foot, 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath with a sleek 7.5 kilowatt solar paneled roof. The solar system was supposed to reduce our entire annual electric bill to zero, not counting taxes and fees. With the solar bonus, the house was a little more expensive than the comparable homes, but we knew that the utility savings would more than make up for the extra upfront costs. In a tight housing market, we ignored our guilt and the foreclosure questions and instead focused on the home inspection. I remember the home inspector being a little shaken when he came out of the house. When I asked him what was wrong, He shook his head as if it was nothing, but I could tell it was something. What? I asked. Cold house, he said. I was on the second floor. Normally on a day like this and no AC on, I should have felt hot and bothered. But I felt cold. Couldn't find any drafts. In fact, that envelope is as tight as a tick. It's just... He seemed worried, but just shook his head again. I'm coming down with something. I felt cold. His final report came back with barely any red flags. 30 days later, the house was ours and everything that came with it. 3 months later, I'd gotten this text about the solar panels needing cleaning. Nadia swore again that she had not given me the solar panel cleaning honeydew. Did you see if they even needed cleaning? Good question. I went outside and looked up at our solar roof, and I couldn't help laughing out loud. Someone had climbed our roof and had finger-scrawled their message in the dust. A row of solar panels contained the letters that spelled out, "Clean me," in capital letters. Very funny, Nadia said, laughing. It wasn't me, I said. Cross my heart. Looks like we have an environmental prankster in the neighborhood. After Nadia went inside, I called my phone carrier to see if anyone could have spoofed my phone somehow. They told me that technically the last few texts had only come from my location. If there were a spoofer, they were at my location. They were in my house. I decided to let it go. Boom, la 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 la. Boom, 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 la 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 la. A week later, Elliot, a one-person solar install, operations, and maintenance service, arrived with a truck, ladder, squeegee, and a diluted soapy water solution. Elliot had a raspy voice, as if he'd been screaming from the top of roofs for too many years. Never saw that one before. Funny, Elliot said when he saw the "Clean Me" sign on the panels. Elliot was fast, safe, and informative. He had known the previous owner because he'd installed a system for him. A good guy. He would have liked that prank, actually. What did he do? Asked Nadia. Science teacher. Dwight Leatham. He loved those kids, and he was a real environmentalist, said Elliot. He'd inherited this house from his folks, but it wasn't in great shape, especially not energy efficiency-wise. Dwight tore this place apart himself. He replaced the insulation, plugged up all the air leaks, did the windows, then he called me to upgrade the wiring and put on the solar PV. He wanted to make the house net zero energy. What exactly does net zero mean? Nadia asked. Depends on who you ask. But to Dwight, it meant that you and your house generate as much energy as you use in a year. Poor guy never made it happen. Oh, yeah, I know, I said, feeling really guilty. We bought it in foreclosure. I guess he went bankrupt fixing up the house. Oh, no. Dwight had plenty of money. The house was in foreclosure because he died. It was a couple of months after he installed the solar. He was outside of school heading for his car. And then this drunk driver beelined right for him and two little kids waiting at the pickup area. Dwight had just enough time to pick up the kids and toss them onto the grass, but the car clipped him down like a bowling pin. He died right there. That's awful, said Nadia. Yeah, a real hero. But Dwight had no family and no will. I guess the bank foreclosed based on the home equity loan, or maybe it was the county for taxes. Sad, I said. La 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 la. Oh, oh, la 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 la. That night, after we'd put Allie down, Nadia and I sat in the living room couch and looked up Dwight's obituary on my laptop. He was indeed a hero and a good person. All of his old students and faculty loved him. He went out of his way for animals, kids, and everyone. He had no family. The school and the students and refurbishing this house was his entire life. Wow, said Nadia, reading the news stories about his saving the two kids. Thanks for building us a wonderful house. We promise to take good care of it. As soon as she said that, the lights went out in the kitchen. Guess we blew a bulb. I got off the couch to check, but when I walked in, I noticed that the light switch was off. I turned it back on and all the kitchen lights went on again. Maybe we have a short? Nadia suggested. I switched them on and off again, confirming they were working. We hadn't been in the kitchen, so I turned them off. They were LED bulbs, of course, the most energy efficient. Dwight had put them in. Maybe that was Dwight reminding us to turn off the lights, I said. I was kidding, but the joke stuck in our heads when other odd energy-related things started happening in the house. For one thing, someone kept pulling plugs from their sockets. I'd find TVs, cable boxes, printers, and other electronics dead, so to speak. But when I checked closely, I saw that their plugs had been yanked out of the wall. "Wasn't me," said Nadia. "Wasn't me," Hallie said. "Maybe it's our prankster environmentalist teenager," I said. I checked the doors and windows, but all had been locked. "Dwight strikes again," I said, joking. "What if it is?" said Nadia. She wasn't smiling, but I wasn't ready to believe it. "Sweetheart, fine, plug them in again. But I bet you they'll get pulled right out by the time we wake up in the morning." And she was right. I woke up at dawn to check the locks on the plugs. The locks were still locked, and the plugs, they were all yanked out again. For the first time, I seriously considered that we had a ghost who was obsessed with energy efficiency. The living room was eerily quiet, and I got the creepy sense that I wasn't alone. I stood up and looked around. "Dwight, are you haunting our house?" "Flick the lights on and off if you are," I said out loud. I waited 10 seconds. The living room lights had not turned on. I felt relieved, but then I turned around and saw the kitchen lights. Click, they went on. Click, they went off. Click, they went on. Click, they went off. A chill of pins and needles went down through my spine. "Okay, thank you. Message received." Click, they went on. Click, they went off. And then they stayed off. I had never believed in ghosts, but here was a reason to believe. Cool. Now I'm a believer. Should we move? Should we have a Dwight exorcism? Was Dwight dangerous? I didn't feel like he was dangerous. He just seemed to be concerned about saving energy. I pulled out my cell phone, unlocked it, and set it on the coffee table with the text app open. "Dwight, I don't know how to put this, but what do you want from us?" I looked at my phone and I saw letters being typed into the message window. Net zero was spelled out. And then a second later, I saw, "Please." Elliot had said he'd wanted this house to be net zero for a year. As the new owners, Dwight wanted us to keep that goal. "So you want our energy usage to be net zero for a year, and then you'll move on?" "Maybe," Dwight messaged. "Maybe?" "Timing." "Timing?" I repeated. Dwight replied with a thumbs up emoji, and then my phone shut down in front of me, and I saw the plugs to the TV, the cable box, and the speakers being invisibly yanked out of the wall. Great. I went upstairs and told Nadia and Allie about my conversation with Dwight. They were less freaked out than I was. This was his home. Not only did his life get taken away, but so did his dream project. We need to help him, Jack. What did he mean by timing? Timing could be anything. Timing can be good, or you can have bad timing. Even if timing is a long time, he seems to be a friendly ghost. "Maybe Dwight can help me with my homework," said Allie. "No, that's my job," I said. "Aw, well, he was a teacher, and you don't help me that much. Just saying. I do too. I'm just not going to do all your work for you." Allie made a face and stuck out her tongue. Nadia held up her hand. "Enough. We are going to make this house net zero for a year, maybe longer. Then Dwight will see that we can do it, and if the timing is right, he'll leave us to enjoy our home. Then we'll continue to live as green as possible. Sound good? Sounds good, I said. And then the hall light where we were standing clicked off. We were in the dark for about 3 long seconds, and then the lights clicked back on again. Sounds great, Dwight seemed to say silently. It's not that I didn't want to help Dwight achieve his unrealized goal. I just wanted to live like the house was ours, not borrowed from a ghost with an environmental plan. The timing thing also bugged me, but Dwight wouldn't say any more about it. I don't understand why he cares, I said to Nadia. He's not in this world anymore. True, agreed Nadia, but he sacrificed his life to save 2 little kids. Maybe when you're so devoted to people like that, it's hard to let go of your life's work. Teaching? Caring, said Nadia. He didn't have to make this place net zero. He was a single guy. His carbon footprint and his electric bill was probably next to nothing. But he cared, so he did it anyway. I care. I just want to live in my house and not think about whether we unplug the TV. Later, I looked up why Dwight was pulling out plugs. We had what energy efficiency experts called vampire loads. These are devices that slowly waste electricity when they're on standby, even when they're switched off. It's not a lot, but over the course of the year, the wasted watts can add up to 10% of our annual bill. The fix was installing power strips that I or Dwight could turn off. What really freaked me out more than anything else was Dwight's water controls. First, he lowered our hot water heater's maximum temperature. I could deal with that since it was a waste of energy and money anyway. But what got really annoying was when I'd see the shower knob slowly start to turn off. This was Dwight's way of telling me to conserve water and to limit my showers to 5 minutes. Dwight, get out of my shower, dude. You're freaking me out. He'd listen, and I'd see the rustle of the shower curtain, and I could control the water again. I admit I was being selfish, but why couldn't I be selfish? It was our home, our lives. Why us? Would our stopping vampire loads and installing a smart thermostat and changing when we ran the dishwasher really make a difference to Allie's generation? I don't know. Then again, if every home was haunted by Dwight, maybe collectively we would make a difference. But there was only one Dwight, and he was living with us. So I did my best. I put a circle on the calendar for September 22nd. For at least 1 year, we would go for it and live a net zero lifestyle. It really wasn't that difficult, especially with today's smart tech appliances and mobile phone apps. I realized that technology could do most of the work, and I really didn't have to think about it. In fact, I really didn't. After a couple of months, the net zero lifestyle just became a normal part of our lives. Dwight, in his own way, continued to help. He texted me about a sale on an electric car. He reminded me when the solar panels had to be cleaned or when we'd left the coffee maker on, burning black coffee and unnecessary watts. Sometimes he did help Allie with her homework, flicking the lights on and off to indicate the right answer to an addition problem. He also let me know when Allie had reached her 1-hour video game time limit. That was creepy, but there were apps that could do the same thing. In the end, Dwight was just our friendly energy efficiency ghost. So when we hit the 1-year mark and achieved his net zero goal, we celebrated with a cake and a 1-year candle for Dwight. We did it, Dwight. Does it feel good? Nadia asked as we all stood around the lit birthday cake. Sorry you can't have a piece. The kitchen lights went off and then on. Dwight's typical signal of acknowledgement. We all looked at each other and smiled. Does this mean you're going to leave us? Asked Allie. My phone vibrated. I looked at the text and showed it to Nadia and Hallie. It said, maybe. Why maybe? I asked out loud. Timing, came the answer via text. What do you mean by timing? Is there a time to let go? Do the pearly gates open once a year, or is it just us? What do we have to do? I just want it to be our house, Dwight. I want us to be a normal family. I know you care, but can't you leave us alone now? Suddenly, all the lights in the house went out, just leaving the 1-year birthday candle burning. And then, as if Dwight were right next to us, his 1-year candle blew out, and then we heard the den's door slam shut. I think you hurt his feelings, said Nadia. We heard less from Dwight after that night. Occasionally I'd get a reminder about the garage light still being on, or a note about cleaning the solar panels again. But they were few. After 7 more months, I thought Dwight might have finally left us. But he hadn't gone. Maybe he was in the attic. Maybe he was sitting next to the solar panels and getting a ghostly tan. He was definitely quiet, but he was watching, and he was listening. And then one night, he texted me while we were eating dinner. Leave, the text came through, as usual seemingly typed from myself. What do you mean, Dwight? I asked out loud. Timing, was the terse text reply. Go. Now. Suddenly, we heard a crack of thunder. It wasn't the first time I'd heard thunder or rain or lightning. This part of the country was well known for storms. Even when Dwight was here, we'd been through some bad weather. Nadia wasn't concerned either. Dwight, said Nadia, thank you. We'll be okay. I saw the dots going off in my phone. The text came back. It was a skull emoji. Then Dwight did something he'd never intentionally done before. He scared us. All the lights in the house simultaneously turned off. Not funny, Dwight, I said in the dark. There was another crack of thunder. A hard rain started pelting the windows and roof. A single light in the kitchen went on next to the side door that led to the garage. Then we watched as the door unlocked and the door slammed open against the wall. Dwight, you're scaring me, said Allie. Bang, 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 bang. The side door began to slam against the garage wall, over and over again. Next we heard the garage door open and the sound of the beep of our brand new electric car. Dwight had turned it on. Thunder and lightning continued, and then we heard something smack against the window. I looked outside. There were golf ball-sized pieces of hail smacking hard against our kitchen windows. One hail ball cracked one of our window panes. Then there was a crack of lightning that hit the house. It struck a wall behind us, popping nails out of the studs. Allie screamed and pointed to the wall that had just been hit. An electrified outline of a body forced its way out of the wall. Dwight was revealing himself. He smelled like static electricity, earth, and burning wood. He didn't say anything, but just pointed to the side door to the garage. There was another crack of lightning, followed by the rumbling of thunder. It sounded like a giant bowling ball had been thrown down Sycamore Avenue, and it was bouncing wildly down the asphalt to our home for a strike. Dwight's electric body started walking towards us. I didn't know what he was doing, but I didn't want him to get any closer. I nodded to Nadia, and she picked up Allie. The side door slammed shut in front of us like it had been sucked closed by a wind tunnel. I tried to push it open again, but the wind was now sweeping through our house and pushing it back. And that's when we heard Dwight scream. "Mo!" He rushed towards us. I grabbed Allie and Nadia and pulled them to the side. Dwight's electric body went past us and crashed through the side door, blowing it open completely. "No!" moaned Dwight. There was a clear way into the garage. We dodged hail chunks and lawn seeds, hammers, and other tools, and finally managed to get inside. As soon as we shut the car doors, an invisible force stepped on the accelerator pedal and peeled out of the garage. "Dwight, stop! Let me drive!" The brakes slammed to a stop, and that's when we turned and saw what Dwight had been worried about all along. That thunderous bowling ball sound wasn't thunder at all. It was actually the debris that was being spat out by what I learned later was the largest tornado ever recorded. Trees, cars, and parts of houses were twisted into a 10-story cloud of wind, and it was heading right for us. I was frozen in fear, and I felt the EV lifting and tilting. I changed my mind, Dwight. You drive. Our car zinged to life, and the torque thrust us into a 180-degree spin, heading as fast as we could down Route 50. Dwight drove pretty well for a ghost. He skid around tree branches, garbage cans, and a flying rowboat. As he drove, we felt suction pulling us back and the nose of our EV lifting. But somehow, our wheels stayed on the pavement. We had enough torque and gravity to move forward and outrun the monster tornado's vortex. After a few more miles, the EV stopped. The winds died down. All we could hear were the far-off sounds of tornado warning sirens. "Dwight?" Nadia asked. No answer. I didn't know what that meant. I just knew we had to keep going. I jammed on the pedal and kept driving for another 30 minutes down Route 50. By the time we reached the interstate, we heard on the car radio that the tornado had finally dissipated. I pulled off to the side of the road. "Still with us, Dwight?" I looked at my phone. There was no flickering of lights or turning on the radio or text or anything to indicate that Dwight was listening. We drove home. The signs of destruction were all around us. There were overturned cars, flattened homes, and downed power lines. The street signs had been blown down. With the missing homes, we couldn't even navigate by landmarks anymore. So we turned on GPS. A half hour later, we turned the corner on our block. The monster tornado had randomly ricocheted like a pinball, bumping and flattening one house and taking pieces of another. But our home, Dwight's home, was still there. Except it had a new addition. A Dodge pickup truck was resting inside our kitchen and crushing the kitchen table where we had been eating dinner. We carefully walked through the house. Wind pushed through the garage in the hole where the Dodge had punctured our once tight envelope. "Dwight?" Nothing. "Dwight?" Nadia called again. "Hi, Dwight. It's me, Allie. Are you here?" I tried our lights. Amazingly, they still worked, and so did my cell phone. But no signals came through. I can't tell you why, but the house felt normal again. Was he hurt by the tornado? Did leaving the house somehow hurt him? Or was it just time to go? I didn't know. "He's gone," I said. "How do you know?" asked Nadia. I looked around. Timing. It's been 3 years now since the tornado struck. We restored the house and kept up Dwight's efficiency standards. Every anniversary, we turn off the lights and we put our hands together. We say thank you to Dwight, and each one of us tells one thing about what we've done to keep our home net zero. The lights never flicker, and we never get a text, but I'd like to think that he hears us. How was that? Were you a little scared? Just a little? It's hard to pull off a ghost story, let alone a solar ghost story. This was one of those ideas that just came to me on a walk. I knew this season needed a Halloween story, and I thought, what if we did a haunted solar house story? And what if the ghost was an energy efficiency maniac and kept shutting off the lights and pulling out cords and reminding people about solar panel cleaning? I was torn between making Dwight a funny ghost or a more scary ghost, but I think I created something in the middle. He was a little scary, but a ghost you might care about, if you believe in ghosts. I hope you enjoyed the first ever haunted solar house story. If you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. If you want to know about other live readings and new episodes, be sure to subscribe to our newsletter at probablytruesolar.com. We didn't know our solar home was haunted until we got a text from the ghost. Was written and read by Tor Solarfred Valenza. Next week is going to be more of a kid story. What if Winnie the Pooh went solar and his solar installer was Tigger? I think you and the kids are going to like it. Probably True Solar Stories is a production of Unthink Solar, PR and Communications. Be bold for solar, stand out, and educate. See you next time.